Unit 9, page 113. Listening. Exercise 3. You will hear part of a radio program about the effects of air travel on the environment. For questions 1 to 7, choose the best answer, A, B or C. You now have 1 minute to look at part 4.
Hello. This week we will be looking at ways in which we can reduce our carbon footprint. By carbon footprint, we mean a measure of the impact that human activities have on the environment in terms of the amount of greenhouse gases they produce. These days it's easy to work out how big one's own personal carbon footprint is, provided you have internet access. You can simply go online and put in the following information: how much your annual household fuel bill is, how often and how far you travel, and a calculator will work it out for you. Your secondary carbon footprint is determined by your buying habits. Basically, if you buy food or items produced locally, then your carbon footprint will be smaller than if you buy produce which has to be flown or shipped from the other side of the world. There are, of course, ways of reducing our carbon footprint. We can car share to work, travel by bus or train rather than by car. We can buy local fruit and veg or wine. If you live in the UK, then buy your wine from European countries rather than Australia, for example, and avoid items that have been made in China or India. Let's start by looking at the effect of air travel on the environment. Sue Hendry, how have you been addressing this?
Well, I quit flying a year ago. For too long I'd been saying they, that is governments, must do something about global warming rather than we or I. Then I suddenly realised that I can't expect things to change if I'm not prepared to change myself. How could I look my children in the eye in 20 years' time and say, I could have done something, but I chose not to? The arguments against flying are obvious. Do you know that a return flight from London to Australia equals the emissions of 3 average cars for a year? And a return domestic flight from London to Edinburgh produces 8 times the carbon dioxide you would use if you took the train.
Nigel Hammond, what's the present situation in the travel industry?
There has been a huge rise in the number of people flying from UK airports. The cheap flights offered by budget airlines have meant that many people think nothing of popping over to the continent for the weekend. Long-haul destinations are becoming increasingly popular too, but the biggest rise has been in short-haul flights, both domestic and to places like Spain, France and Italy.
I think the problem is that although most people know that flying contributes hugely to global warming, they are not really prepared to do anything about it. So they'll feel a bit bad while they're sitting on the plane, but the moment they get to their destination, it'll be long forgotten.
So what solutions are there?
There are a variety of possible solutions. One is to put up the tax on aviation fuel, but this has been tried already and didn't work. Another is to limit the number of flights people can take a year. I like that idea, but I'm not sure how practical it would be. Still, I definitely think it would be worth giving it a go. And then there is carbon offsetting, whereby people plant trees. But if the trees are cut down or there's a fire, then you've lost your offset.